What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, the Madden Rebuild King, back at you again with another Madden 20 rebuild, and we're going to be jumping in the AFC Conference Championship week with the Cleveland Browns coming off a disappointing season. So we get into contract negotiations. As you can see, Kareem Hunt is scheduled to become a free agent, only 25 years old, 88 overall, star development. But for $49 million, there's no way I'm going to try to bring him back. Now, Joe Schobert, 82 overall with superstar development, 26 years old, is definitely somebody we want to keep. Look to build around on the defense, him and Myles Garrett. And this team is really very talented. Not too many needs. We get into free agency, $24 million. As you can see, Derrick Henry available, Chris Jones, Amari Cooper would be a nice add, but we really don't need receiver. Could go corner, Kendall Fuller would be a nice addition, but I feel like I really get him on a lot of rebuilds that I do, so. But it is just so tempting. He is 87 overall. We could get Corey Littleton and put him at outside linebacker. See what offensive linemen are available. Joe Thuney available. Could look to add him. We do need a right guard and a right tackle. Jake Conklin is available. 77 overall. Star development. And he is only 26, so he would be a nice piece. And we're going to go ahead and offer Joe Thuney a contract also. 85 overall, only 27 years old, star development. Got to keep Baker Mayfield protected in this upcoming season. Eric Armstead would have been a decent addition. Olivier Vernon is getting kind of old. And I really do hate having to pass on Kendall Fuller. As you can see, we don't have enough cap space to even offer him a contract. We could try to get Gerald McCoy for a season. We could use a backup running back also. Gonna offer Matt Breida a contract. And since we're the only one offering him a contract, gonna come down on the offer. Take it down to 69 points. Maybe could even went lower than that, but it's fine. So we get into the next week, we get both of our offensive line targets, which is huge. Going to be very huge for Baker Mayfield. Try to keep his jersey very clean this upcoming season. We also get Matt Breida, who is a solid running back. So as you can see, offensive line is looking just awesome. Could use a right tackle. But as you can see, we have weapons, wide receivers is a lock, tight end a lock. Could maybe use a slot receiver, but other than that, offense looks amazing. The defensive side of the ball, defensive line, all-star development. We have Denzel Ward, linebacker looking good with Mack Wilson and Joe Schobert. Christian Kirksey only has normal development, but he is a 74 overall. Not great, but not terrible either. So we're going to go ahead and simulate to the draft. And the 2020 draft is officially underway. Going to go ahead and skip to the next pick just to see who the Dolphins draft. And they choose Chase Young, which is surprising. In most of these rebuilds, they've been drafting quarterbacks. But T. Higgins goes to the Dallas Cowboys, so they go receiver, looking to replace Amari Cooper. And a lot of top receivers and running backs are still on the board, as you can see. Got Xavier, McKinney, Antoine Winfield Jr. on the board, Trayvon Diggs on the board. Probably going to be looking at defensive back with this first pick, but just looking at the offensive linemen, seeing who's still available. Austin Jackson would be a solid pick there to slide to right tackle. But it's too hard to pass up on Xavier McKinney. 73 overall, 22 in true value. We get him at pick 23. Star development or better. Going to be a plug-and-play player. Going to put him in right away. Solidify our safety spot. And as we get into the second round, as you can see, Henry Ruggs still available. Devontae Smith, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Brooks. So a lot of top receiving talent still on the board. As you can see, Monty Rice on the board. Tyler Biadasz still on the board, which is, we could draft him. But it's kind of hard passing on Henry Ruggs. It's between him and Henry Ruggs. And we go ahead and select Henry Ruggs III, 73 overall, 29th of true value. We get him at pick 55. Huge steal, star development or better. Going to look to put him in the slot. Take some pressure off OBJ and Jarvis Landry. Should be a nice compliment. As the Dallas Cowboys go receiver again, getting KJ Hamler out of Penn State. So the loss of Amari Cooper must be weighing on the Cowboys very heavy in this draft. See, couple offensive line prospects still available. Lavert Hill still available. J.R. Reed available. I draft J.R. Reed a lot also, so I'm going to go ahead and try Terrell Burgess, maybe, out of Utah. Or we could go A.J. Dillon's on the board. We draft A.J. Dillon, 42 in true value. We get him at 87, 71 overall, only normal development. And actually, when I drafted him, I forgot that we actually did sign Matt Breida. So, going to be a little three-man rotation back there. At least it's a good depth pick, if nothing else. We could go Trey Adams here. Dale Williams available. Rashard Lawrence still on the board. J.R. Reed still on the board. Gonna try a different safety this time. We're gonna try Terrell Burgess. Most likely, if we don't take J.R. Reed. And yeah, why not? We go ahead and take Terrell Burgess, 67 overall, only normal development, 109th in true value. We get him at 99. Well, gonna go ahead and simulate the rest of the draft. Get into this upcoming season. Hopefully we can turn around the ship in Cleveland and at least get a playoff berth. A division title and a playoff berth would be perfect way to start off this rebuild. As we go ahead and check out our lineup post-draft. As you can see, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Matt Breida, A.J. Dillon. We got OBJ and Jarvis Landry. We get Henry Ruggs III. Offensive line, we don't get the right tackle, but the offensive line should be solid enough to hold up with only one really need on the offensive line that is right tackle. So the rest of those guys should be able to hold their own. Defensive line, like I said, is looking amazing. We get Xavier McKinney to fill one of those safety spots that we needed filled. Wish we could have got another safety. I was actually hoping that Antoine Winfield Jr. would still be on the board. Maybe should have traded up and got him, but hopefully the pieces we have on defense will be enough. As you can see, they are a 79 overall on defense, 84 on offense. And we're only a 52% scheme fit in that system. So, gonna have to change out of that. And it's looking like we're going to be a vertical zone run team. But I'm not sure if I want to change the playbook, as they have power and zone run plays in the Cleveland playbook and still pass the ball a fairly good amount of time. So we're going to go ahead and simulate to the midseason. Hopefully Baker's playing well. Hopefully the receivers are playing well. Defense. Hopefully the whole team is playing well, basically. As we get into the midseason point, we have a frustrated receiver in OBJ, but we are tied for first in the division with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 1,759 yards for Baker Mayfield, 14 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. You get 497 yards, 5 touchdowns for Nick Chubb, 2 for Matt Breida, and 1 touchdown for Baker Mayfield. 437 yards, 2 touchdowns for OBJ, 3 touchdowns, 375 yards for Henry Ruggs III. So we got Joe Sherbert leading the team with 45 tackles. We get 10.5 sacks for Olivier Vernon, 4.5 for Myles Garrett, having a bit of a down year. 2 picks from Terrence Mitchell and a couple other players with only 1, including Joe Sherbert and Greedy Williams. Mac Wilson with the interception also. So not doing amazingly good stat-wise outside of Baker Mayfield, really. But as you can see, Henry Ruggs III still hitting development. And Xavier McKinney had star development, which is okay, I guess. I was hoping he had superstar. But we go ahead and auto-upgrade our players before we simulate the rest of the season. So we're going to go ahead and simulate to the playoffs. Hopefully we can outlast the Pittsburgh Steelers for the division crown, which would be awesome. And we didn't get in the wild card because we ended up winning the division, finished 11-5, 6th in the NFL in total offense, 12th in defense. A little bit over 4,000 yards for Baker Mayfield, 36 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, 76% completion percentage, which is very close to the NFL record if I'm not mistaken. 1,321 yards for Nick Chubb, 15 touchdowns, huge season for him. Definitely going to be considered for running back of the year. 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns for OBJ, 10 touchdowns, 896 yards for Henry Ruggs III. We get Joe Sherbert with 124 tackles to lead the team, 16.5 sacks for Olivier Vernon. Myles Garrett comes on in the second half of the season, finishes with 12 sacks, 5.5 for Joe Schobert. He's definitely going to be considered for best linebacker, or at least should. Get 3 interceptions for Greedy Williams, 3 for Terrence Mitchell, 2 for Joe Schobert, 2 for Denzel Ward. So Joe Schobert really had a big year all around. As you can see, Nick Chubb finished first in the NFL in rushing touchdowns, 7th in yards. And Henry Ruggs III has star development, which is nice. So both our top 2 players from the draft both had star development. As we go ahead and auto upgrade our players before we get into the next week, see who we will be going against in the divisional round, and it is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are sitting at 10-6. Should be a good matchup. We're just going to go ahead and simulate the week. Hopefully we can get past them, and we do. And in the conference championship, we will be facing the 8-8 Cincinnati Bengals, who are also in our division. So the AFC must have been horrible this year. Just horrible. They get in at 8-8. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at our schedule. As you can see, that one was a bye week. But you can see we don't have any forced wins. Any forced wins in the playoffs either. We'll go ahead and check the Bengals. We're not giving them forced wins either. They are beating good elite teams. As you can see, they beat the Buffalo Bills 42-21. Absolutely blew them out the water. So we go ahead and auto upgrade our players. And for this one, we're going to play the key moments. And, oh, they have Tua Tagovailoa. So this should be a good matchup. Very good matchup. Baker Mayfield versus Tua Tagovailoa. Joe Mixon versus Nick Chubb. You know, both of these franchises made huge leaps in one season. As you can see, they start off with a 7-point lead, 14-7. But you know, our guys are fighters. They're hanging in there. Go down there and tie the game up before the half. And on 4th down, 4 yards to go. We're at the 23-yard line. We're going to say to heck with the field goal. Going to go for the touchdown, or at least go for a first down, because we want touchdowns. We want to make it to the Super Bowl. As Baker Mayfield hits Jarvis Landry with a nice pass over the middle on the slant. Nice way to hold on to the ball right there for Jarvis Landry. And we get another 4th down on this drive. And we're going to go for it again. I think we absolutely have to go for it here. And who else comes up with the catch besides Jarvis Landry? As we score a touchdown, take a 7-point lead. They go right down and tie the game up. So it's a very close game. And they go down and kick a field goal. So we go down, get a touchdown, take a 4-point lead, 24-28. A minute and 34 seconds left. They still have all 3 timeouts. And have Tua Tagovailoa, as you can see, who has superstar development, which is cool. And he hits Tyler Boyd, I believe that is, for a huge gain. And they're almost in field goal range. So we're going to go ahead and go to key moments, see if our defense can make a big stop. And they get us to 3rd and 9. We're going to go ahead and jump back in here. Absolutely got to have this stop. And he threw it away. We got good pressure that time. Maybe they should have invested some more picks and money into their offensive line like we did. And they still get the ball back. Simulation is super funny. And they make it to the red zone. They make it to the 17-yard line, but they didn't have any timeouts. Wow. That's tough. Really tough. Good game for Tua, though. 312 yards, 2 touchdowns. As we get into the Super Bowl week, we will be playing the New Orleans Saints, our team from the last rebuild, who come in at 9-7. And this game should be very interesting, very tough for our defense at least, as New Orleans does have one of the most explosive offenses. As you see, Alvin Kamara had a huge season. And as we get into the game, they march right down the field and score. So we finally get on the board with a field goal. Took us to late in the second quarter to get on the board. They go down, kick a field goal. As you can see, Baker Mayfield marched us down the field. And at the 2-yard line, we're going to play this aggressive. This is the Super Bowl. And we got to go for it. We have Nick Chubb, stud offensive line. And oh my goodness. Wow, that's tough. That's tough. So we don't score inside the red zone, but our defense does hold the Saints to only a field goal. We finally score a touchdown. Took us to the 4th quarter to do so. We finally get the lead. 17-13. Little over a minute left. And they get the ball back. So we hold off. Beat the New Orleans Saints 17-13 for our first Super Bowl win. 244 yards, 2 touchdowns for Baker Mayfield. Caps off a huge season for him. Huge season for the team. Hopefully, we get some award recognition. As Tom Brady wins the MVP for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wow. I would have never imagined that. Baker Mayfield finishes in the top 10. Finishes 3rd for Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Alexander Johnson. Wow. Joe Sherbert finishes 3rd. Olivier Vernon in the top 10 also. Justin Herbert wins Rookie of the Year. Henry Ruggs finishes in the top 10. For Defensive Rookie of the Year, Xavier McKinney finishes 8th in voting. Baker Mayfield does win Best Quarterback. And for Best Running Back, Nick Chubb finishes 3rd. Wow. Get 2 wide receivers in the top 10 for best wide receiver. 2 O-linemen in for best O-line. Olivier Vernon wins best D-lineman, which is huge for us. Joe Sherbert finishes second for best linebacker. Wow. I feel like I've been robbed. Greedy Williams finishes in the top 10 for best DB. So all in all, a good season all around. As we go ahead and check to see if our players who won awards got any upgrades, and Baker Mayfield didn't. And wow, neither did Olivier Vernon. But Morgan Burnett actually went up in development trait from normal to star. Now, as we get into the contract negotiations, not sure if I want to bring back Olivier Vernon. He did have a huge season, but he is 30 years old and probably is going to start to regress here very soon. I do want to bring back Larry Ogunjobi, 78 overall, 27 years old, star development,